Hi my hiking friends, so I just came back from my 4-day pulka hike in the Swedish mountains in Swedish Lapland, and I am sure you will ask what I had on my trip there, because I'm gonna post or already posted all of the vlogs from that trip. So today I'm gonna quickly cover what I had on this trip. I just came back, 2 hours ago. I dumped everything inside. I haven't touched my bag since. So now I'm gonna unravel everything and just quickly show you what I had. I will try my best not to go very in depth because I have a lot of gear, otherwise we would be here forever. But I just wanna give a quick overview. What would you need in a pulka hike in the mountains for 4 days? Also, keep in mind I had a dog with me, Linka, who is now dead tired because she was working so hard. So I also have some gear for Linka as well. Because it was a skiing trip, of course, I had also skis, ski boots, skins and poles with me, but they're outside. You can just imagine you need those as well. But let's start with what I was wearing most of the time, because I really need to take it off. I'm super hot. So sunglasses, of course, a buff to cover my ears, but it was quite warm outside. Actually really warm. On some days it was 10 degrees plus and the sun was shining, so it was a little bit too hot for me because it got really warm in the snow as well. The snow is reflecting all of the sun. But I was prepared for minus 10 degrees at least. During night times I was prepared even more. And then a wind jacket, and very important, in the pockets I always had SPF 30 lip balm and matches in a plastic bag. Did I have anything else? Usually I had phone on my one chest pocket, so it would be easy to access. And yeah, let's take this off because I am warm. Then I had one layer of long johns plus one merino t-shirt underneath here. Here are my windproof trousers, and I can show you, and one layer of long johns underneath, and one pair of socks. So that's what I was wearing. When it got really hot, I threw away the wind jacket and I was skiing just in my long johns. Then, because I had Linka with me, I had harness for Linka, then harness for me. So this is a ski yoring harness that you step in, and then Linka is, or the dog who you are using this, is pulling you. And then I had the leash, bungee leash that was attached to Linka's harness and to my ski yoring harness. And then I of course had dog. A dog that can pull. Very important, because not all dogs pull. Some dogs just like to run, but they're not pulling. But she has been training with me for the entire season as a sled dog, so she did absolutely wonderful. So my setup was, I had a backpack with me. It's an Osprey 38-liter backpack, and I had like essentials that I wanted to quickly access and always have with me in my backpack. So that was on my back, and my pulka sled was attached to my hip belt. Yeah, but I have a separate video about my pulka setup, how I DIY'd this pulka sled and how it was attached. So you can stay tuned for that if it's not already uploaded. Linka, I am so sorry, my majesty. This can stay here. Let's start with the biggest stuff. On top I had my camp shoes. I choose felted camp shoes because I thought if they get wet, they will dry out really quickly as well. What I didn't realize is because it was plus degrees, everything was melting. So my camp shoes got wet really quickly. Fortunately, during the daytime, it was really warm, so I just put them on top here and they were drying out for the evening. If it would have been snowing or if it would have not been sunshine, then I would have needed rubber boots as my camp boots. So all of my gear was sandwiched in this tarp. First up, shovel. If you're winter camping, extremely important. I have Fiskar's little shovel with me. Then, okay, so we were talking about clothes. This is my clothes bag. It is in a like a semi-waterproof, water repellent bag. And what do I have in here? Let's go through quickly. My inliner for the sleeping bag. As I told you, it was really warm, so most of these clothes I didn't use, but I would still take them with me because I wanted to be prepared for -10 degrees and maybe even -20 during the nighttime. You never know what can happen in the mountains, right? If you have a blizzard storm, you want to be warm. So I had one pair of wool socks for sleeping, like full wool, and then merino socks, 2 really warm ones. And with the socks as well, you want to have a lot with you, so if they get wet, you change them out. So I had 4 pairs of extra socks. Then I had my knee support that I didn't need, and then I had the long johns for the same reason. If they would get wet, I would change them out, because when it's -degrees, you do not want to have wet garments close to your body. 1, 2 extra long john bottoms, some extra underwear, and 1, 2, 3 extra long john tops. As I mentioned, I didn't use them, but I would still take them with me. Then this is my accessories bag. Again, because I know how bad it is to do things in cold with your wet gloves. I had extra gloves with me, big gloves, extra wool inliners for these big gloves. Headband, didn't use because it was too warm. I used my buff. Hat, merino wool hat that I used for sleeping. Again, extra gloves for skiing or doing camp chores. Did not want to be cold-handed. And then another pair of gloves. These I wouldn't have needed to take. Extra buff and extra neck scarf buff as well. Maybe a little overkill. Maybe a few pairs of too much gloves, but again, it sucks when you can't try out your gloves. Tent setup, winter bags. You need winter bags, snow bags, thermos. So I had 1 thermos with me, and the others are attached to my backpack, so I'll show you. Wooden plate to put underneath the burner, the gas burner, because it will go cold, and if you put it in snow, it starts to freeze, and it's not good because then it cools down the gas even more. Anyway, really important to have some surface to put your gas stove on, and also I used it when I was defrosting Linka's meat. I could put it on top like this to keep it a little bit more warm. Then bowl for Linka. And this is my kitchen stove, kitchen setup. So it's a pot with a gas burner inside here. Gas canisters. I had 3 because I didn't know how much was in here, and I really didn't want to miss out in winter time because gas, it's not very effective when it's cold. To be sure, I should have taken liquid burning fuel and liquid stove next time you do it, because the gas, it's not good when it's really cold. And then extra gas burner, because I didn't want to stay stranded in the mountains if my first burner would have failed. But because it's so small, then it's fine. Okay, this is my trash bag. All these are my food bags. I had the food extra for 1 day, just in case if I would have needed to stay extra night somewhere in a cabin to wait out a storm. But I have a separate video about food as well, so I'm not gonna go into that now. Then, because I had Linka, I used it every night, a little jacket for her, booties and paw cream if she would have needed some protection, and a little t-shirt if the harness would have started rubbing. Mattress, it's an inflatable Thermarest mattress. Loved it. Makes things much more nicer. Dry food for Linka. And some last pieces of frozen meat for Linka as well. And it's already dripping because it was inside, I forgot. Yes, so this is raw meat that stayed frosted most of the time. I kept it in snow when I was camping. And I also had an extra day's worth of food for Linka as well. In extra plastic bags, I have my essentials that I really did not want to get wet. My Fjällräven Polar -30 degree sleeping bag. Needless to say, it was overkill for this weather, but I wanted to be prepared. And my polar parka that I used evenings and mornings, and I also slept on top of it, so it was sort of part of my sleeping system, just to be sure and warm during camping. And my polar endurance tent for two. And I have to add, it was really convenient to have my sled with me. So when I was camping, I just threw all of my gear in here and slid it into my entry hall of the tent. And it was really nice to have everything in one place. Now, what was in my backpack? I have my pepper spray that is basically always here, just for some extra protection. And here I have my GoPro. In the hip belt pockets, I have always these hard candies. So when I feel I need some extra pump, I take it and eat it. It's like a caramel candy. On the sides, for really easy access, I had my water bottle. And I had my small thermos that I held either warm bouillon in here, or warm water. And then also what I tended to do is, if I took something off, I put it here on the side pockets. I have extra puff that I had on my neck probably. Here on top I had mat. So this is what Linka slept on top in the tent, and also this was for us to sit on our breaks. It was really nice to have something quick to grab. This pocket here, I have my map. Although most of the time I used my phone app. Topo GPS, I guess, was the app's name. It costed €2.99 or €3.99. Worth every penny. Super app. Here I had extra bandana for random reasons, and some leather gloves. These were my thinnest gloves, so I used them when the wind picked up. But I didn't want to have really extra warm things just to ski in. They're actually my working gloves. Sunscreen, SPF 50. You really need to sunscreen yourself up. And snacks for Linka, just in case, but I didn't use them a lot. Some extra poop bags if she would have pooped in inconvenient places. Linka, I mean. Toilet paper for myself. And my Leatherman. My electronics, cords, battery banks. So this is a bag that's sort of toiletry bag, but I kept everything that I need to put in my sleeping bag in the evening to keep warm. So it's mostly liquids, creams, face oil, wet napkins. My extra phone, this is my emergency phone. I have used this for work time here. It's an old Nokia, but it has used 1/3 of its battery by just hanging out in the cold for 4 days. I have not done anything for it, but I can really rely on the battery there. Then another toiletry bag, toothbrush, some pills, flush, mirror, extra lip balm with SPF. Here's my sketching kit and my little field notebook. Here's my first aid kit. Clothes. This is my nice sweater that I used in the mornings and in the evenings. Extra goggles. You should always have extra pair of sunglasses or goggles with you when you go into the mountains. It's really dangerous. If you lose your pair, you might get snowblind and then you're screwed. So this was my extra pair. I actually used them. Head torch that I didn't use because it's so light now outside. My emergency pack kit that I always have with me. Some extra heat packs, hand warmers, didn't use them. This is my watercolor kit, schminke. And almost lastly, this is the safety wind bag that you need to have. It's just like a part of emergency kit when you go to mountains or really snowy conditions. And then this is the last thing. It's my few cards, cash, because in the mountain cabins you can pay with cash. My car keys in a Ziploc bag. And yes, that is all. So this is what I had with me on my 4-day trip into the Swedish mountains. I stayed on well-defined trails and I stayed in trails where there were cabins, where there were safety or like emergency phones. So I didn't have any GPS phone or satellite phone with me, because I knew if I needed any help, I could use these emergency phones. But I had zero reception for the entire 4 days. So yes. I hope this helped you. It was a really quick rundown of all of the gear. If you have any questions, you can leave them below. I will try to answer them. But this is how I did it. It's not a wrong way or the right way. This is just my way that I have figured out works for me in cold camping, in winter camping. I have no idea how much it weighed. I don't care as well. Because the experience was wonderful. And thank you, Linka, for not running away from this gear explosion. Yes, that's it. Take care, go for a hike, go for a winter hike. Maybe not now, because now the spring is coming, or the summer even, but next year it's really fun. Yes. Okay, guys, see you next time. Bye.